I've always wanted to talk about Thomas episodes on this channel. Never did I think this would be my first actual talking like uh video about talking about a Thomas episode. So you're welcome, I guess, or not welcome if you don't like this video because let's be real, I don't like creating this video either. But it's a Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day, and obviously, I want to create a Valentine's Day video, and I don't want to talk about Valentine's Day toy packs. So we're getting this video. So let's talk about this. Rosie is Red is the 22nd episode of season 22 of Thomas and Friends. This was in around the first season of the Boba era, and I don't know why we started the Boba era off with a Valentine's Day episode that literally insinuates engines can kiss. But yeah, so the plot of the episode: Valentine's Day on Sodor, meaning more letters for Percy to pull. But Diesel has other plans, in the fact that Diesel literally pushed Rosie's trucks that are full of roses and scattered them all over the docks. Cranky gets cross with Rosie instead of Diesel, which, oh my goodness! Cranky. Did you not see Diesel pushing Rosie? My goodness, bro. Okay. Then Thomas tries to stand up for Rosie, but in that case, Diesel started teasing Thomas because he thought Thomas was sticking up for Rosie because she was his favorite. And Bill and Ben arrive at the worst time possible. why did you two appear when Thomas was standing up for a female character? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And you'll see further on that I will talk about my thoughts about the later on plot points of the episode. But you will see what I mean by that. But seriously, Bill and Ben, could you guys get out of here just so I don't this just doesn't occur? But then Rosie replies that Thomas is just sticking up for her because he is her friend. Then he gets teased by all three of the peanut gallery, saying that Rosie is Thomas's special friend, which obviously is an allegory or a sub-in for girlfriend. Then Bill and Ben make Thomas and Rosie feel embarrassed. And obviously, I'm going to get into this next point. They do the usual. They do the classmate, school classmate, teasing stuff whenever two friends of the opposite genders are together, are walking together or something like that. And they do a Thomas and Rosie sitting in a tree, KISSING. Oh my goodness. No. And this is when the fantasy sequence happens. I forgot about that. The fantasy sequence is the worst part of this episode, and I really do not want to talk about the fantasy sequence, but yeah, that fantasy sequence happens. But Thomas starts distancing himself from Rosie, and he starts being unkind, and just starts being an actual brat, which honestly I would too. Not saying I'm trying to justify the episode and trying to justify Thomas's actions in this episode, but I'm just saying if I was always being teased for always talking to a female friend, I would try distance, but I wouldn't be a complete brat. I'm not trying to justify Thomas's actions, but I do understand his reaction because, well, he doesn't want to be teased. Then we get to a scene where Thomas is at a washdown when Rosie arrives, wanting to thank Thomas and she wants to thank Thomas for simply sticking up for her. Thomas knew he stood up for Rosie, but he just doesn't. He pretends not to remember it. Thomas, buddy, old pal, can you please actually think about your friend? He thought it was being clever. However, this ends up embarrassing Rosie and offending her. Wow, Thomas, just wow, buddy. You really thought that through. Wow, buddy, just wow. But Rosie felt sad after that encounter because she thought Thomas actually didn't tolerate her anymore. Which, again, wow, Thomas, wow, you were being a prick at that time. Wow, buddy, just wow. Later on, Thomas is being told by the Pack Controller to go to Ulster Castle and pick up some important passengers, and then meet Rosie at Vickerstown Station. Then, at the same time, he tells Rosie to take some vans to Vickerstown, where she'll meet Thomas. Ticking time bomb, yada yada yada. The two entities did not want to see each other for some reason, but they did not want to let the Pack Controller down. Then the Pack Controller drops off his mother so he can finish planning the Valentine's gift for Lady Hat. So yeah, it's honestly a very sweet thing that the Fat Controller and Lady Hat are planning Valentine's Day stuff. The two do it all and take. And okay, I'm trying to read this off the wiki, but it says the two do all it takes to avoid coming across each other. But inevitably, they do see each other at the station. And Rosie rushes the workman to hurry up as she wants to get away from Vickerstown before Thomas. Edward is puzzled. And then Rosie just explains that Thomas was mean to her. Edward did not understand, and obviously so, because, well, Thomas and Rosie are pretty kind to each other. And, well, let's just say that one thing comes to another. Gordon comes up behind Thomas and teases him, saying that Rosie is behind him. This shocks Thomas, but luckily the signalman changes the points because Toby and Henrietta are right in front of Thomas. Like, Gordon, you almost caused a crash. Buddy, you literally almost caused an accident. Gordon, buddy, old pal, can you not try and cause a crash, buddy? All right, okay. Moving on. When Thomas tells Toby and Henrietta about the problem, Henrietta convinces Thomas not to care about what the other end think and to try and talk about it with Rosie. Like, yes, Henrietta, you and Toby should be the prime example for this type of advice because you two act like an elderly couple. So, yeah, that's really what the conversation leads to. And then at Vickerstown, the Fat Controller is waiting anxiously for Thomas and Rosie to arrive. Rosie arrives, and the Fat Controller asks Lady Hat to turn around. And I think that's what this thing says. And then Lady Hat arrives later on. Okay. Then Thomas and Rosie later meet up and meet each other face to face. Thomas apologizes, and everything goes well. And then basically Rosie accepts the apology, and they're happy they sorted it out. The two feel much better, and it's like Rosie is so glad that Thomas still likes her, but just as friends. Yeah, they saw the very important passengers for a music quartet. The Pack Controller finds Lady Hat and declares her love for her. It is revealed that what Rosie and Thomas was meant to do. Rosie is red, Thomas is blue. Oh, that is actually a good line, though. Rosie is red, Thomas is blue, and my darling Lady Hat, I love you. Ooh, that is actually genuinely a good line. Then he has a quartet of violin players play for her and gives her a kitten and several flowers as presents. That is adorable. That is generally adorable. In Rosie's trucks is the crates of roses, and in a Clarabelle were blue and red heart lights. This makes Thomas and Rosie feel very happy to just be good friends and nothing more. Well, that was a good like recap of the episode. Now I want to talk about my afterthoughts about the episode. Honestly, I feel like this is a genuinely nice episode. It's a feel-good episode that honestly I don't really have any problems with. It is very cheesy, I'm gonna say that. And but it does have some good moments in the fact that it's a relatable episode for anyone that has female friends or friends that are the opposite gender of them, always getting teased by the opposite gender or the gender that you are, like boys talking to females or females talking to boys. It's the way of the world in school that's just how it is. Like teasing like that is just normal. And I don't know why it's normalized. It's just how it is. But yeah, anyway guys, if you guys want to see me talk about more Thomas episodes, my next episode video will be about my favorite Thomas episode, which I'm really excited to do that, and I will make a video structure similar to this where I go over the entire episode and then talk about my afterthoughts about the episode and what I think about it. So anyway guys, that's it. Tell me what you guys think about this episode in the comments down below. If you guys want to see more from me, please consider subscribing to the channel. Have a great Valentine's Day. See you guys next time.